A millionaire never imagined what he would find when he decided to dine at a fancy restaurant. In front of him, his ex-wife, whom he hadn't seen in years, sat with 3 children identical to him. Coincidence or destiny? This story will make you reflect on love, past mistakes, and life's unexpected twists and turns. It was nearly 8 in the evening when Julián Herrera, a millionaire businessman and a regular figure on the covers of financial magazines, walked into a modest restaurant on the outskirts of Medellin. It wasn't his kind of place. He was there by accident, searching for something different from the gourmet dishes of his artificial world. Dressed in a tailored suit and a Swiss watch, he contrasted starkly with the simplicity of the place. But it wasn't the food that took his breath away that night. It was the scene he saw in the quietest corner of the restaurant. A black woman, with a tired but firm gaze, was laughing with 3 children, about 5 years old. They all had the same dark curls, the same dimples when they smiled, and the same honey-colored eyes that Julián saw every morning in the mirror. His blood froze. "It can't be," he murmured. She was Amara, his ex-wife, the woman he once loved with an intensity that had transformed him, and whom he lost out of cowardice. 5 years earlier, Julián had been a different man, ambitious, young, and entirely focused on his social ascent. When he met Amara, an Afro-Colombian dancer with the brightest soul he had ever seen, his world was shaken. She wasn't the kind of woman his family expected. His mother had even confronted him. Asterisk, a black woman, Julián? That's what you're going to bring into the Herrera family? Initially, he defended her fiercely, but over time, the weight of pressure, the mockery from colleagues, the whispers at galas and dinners, all of it began to eat away at him. One night, he just left without explanation. Just a note, asterisk, I can't give you the future you deserve. Her name was the last thing Amara heard from him. Now, standing before her 5 years later, Julián felt like a ghost. She hadn't seen him yet. She was gently wiping the corner of one of the children's mouths, while the other 2 fought over a piece of empanada. Each child was a tiny copy of him. There could be no doubt. He approached with trembling steps. "Amara," he said, as if invoking a painful memory. She looked at him, and for an instant her face froze. Her lips parted slightly, her eyes filled with a mix of disbelief and sorrow. She said nothing. She just looked down and instinctively pulled the 3 children into an embrace. "Are they mine?" Julián asked, his voice breaking. "You didn't come here to find out, Julián. You came to have dinner," she replied in a calm tone, but every word was sharp as thorns. He sat down across from her without asking for permission. The restaurant seemed to disappear. Only she and the children existed. "Amara, please. I need to understand." She sighed. "When you left, I found out I was pregnant. I thought about looking for you, asking for help, but then I remembered how you left me. No explanation, no goodbye. I realized that if you weren't strong enough to fight for me, you wouldn't fight for them either." Julián felt something inside him shatter. "I didn't know. I had no idea." "Of course you didn't. Why would you know? You don't look back." One of the children curiously looked at him and asked, "Are you Mommy's friend?" Julián looked at him tenderly. "I'm something more than that, I think." Amara turned her gaze toward the window. Her eyes reflected all the exhaustion of the years, but also an unshakable dignity. "I've worked in this restaurant since they were born. I clean, I cook, I take care of them. It hasn't been easy, but I don't regret anything." Amara, I've done many things with my money, invested in hotels, cryptocurrencies, startups. But I've never felt as poor as I do now, seeing them and realizing how much I missed. You can't get back time, Julián. No, but maybe I can build something new. There was a long silence. The children began playing with napkins, unaware of the tension. Amara looked him straight in the eyes. Why now? Out of guilt? Shame? Love? All of it, he replied without hesitation. The love I never stopped feeling. Cowardice, I buried it under. The pain that's now in my bones. She closed her eyes. Love is staying. Love is changing diapers, soothing fevers, telling stories until they fall asleep. Let me learn, Amara, he whispered. I don't deserve a second chance, but don't let me walk away without trying to be a father to them. Don't let me keep being the coward who abandoned them without knowing. Amara looked at him for a long time. There was something in his voice. He was no longer the arrogant Julián she had known. This man seemed truly broken, and at the same time, resolved. She had hated him, yes, but she had also loved him with the same intensity. And looking at him now, it was as if time had paused right before breaking completely. Don't do it for me, she said finally. Do it for them. If you really want to be here, start by showing up tomorrow at 6. Take them to the park, play with them, hold their hands, listen to their stories. And maybe, a day at a time, we'll see if it's true that you're here to stay. Julián nodded, holding back tears. Thank you, Amara. That night, Julián didn't sleep. Instead, he wrote a letter to his mother, a long, painful letter where, for the first time, he spoke to her as a son, not as an heir. He told her everything. He said he would no longer let racism or social judgment dictate his life, that his children were beautiful, that Amara was the bravest woman he had ever known, that he had been weak, but not anymore. Weeks passed, then months. Julián kept every word. He became a constant presence in the children's lives. He took them to school, learned to make rice with eggs, read dinosaur stories aloud. For the first time in his life, he felt alive in a way no amount of money could buy. One day, one of the triplets, Elias, asked, "Are you my daddy?" Julián hugged him tightly. "Yes, son, I am, and I will always be here." From the kitchen, Amara watched them. A tear rolled down her cheek, not one of pain, but of hope. Years later, Julián handed over his company to others and founded an organization for single fathers and abandoned mothers. With Amara by his side, they created a home where love wasn't measured by last name or skin color, but by the willingness to stay, even when it's easier to run. Because sometimes, true love isn't about never making mistakes, but about having the courage to return and stay to heal.